Hi, good afternoon. I'm back for my second episode, my second portion of today's video episodes, which is a war update. I want to share some things that are happening now through a post here from Scott Ritter. I saw that Syria was trending, and I had a concern about what was going on with that. So let me see what I can do here. Okay, so we already know how bad everything is between Russia and NATO and us and Ukraine. And, I saw today that Zelensky would like to cede some Ukrainian land to Russia in an effort to stop this war, which is, I feel like at this point, he knows his time is running out. Because things are just getting worse, and they should have taken the deal in 2022, because so many people could have had their lives saved from this. So many people could be alive today, but no, practically a whole generation of men have been wiped out in Ukraine because of this situation that happened in the Donbass. And for 14 years, for 8 years, 14,000 people died in the Donbass and I think it's Donetsk region. Before Putin did anything to come and deal with that, so there was a lot of suffering going on before that, and I think that's pretty typical of Putin, where he does not jump into situations. He's very measured, and he takes time to do these things. I don't know how the U.S. war hawks and warmongers and people who are making hand over fist on their weapons manufacturing in the military-industrial complex are going to deal with what Zelensky said, because they won't allow him and anybody in there to not to fight. And a lot of men, they want to change, I heard the U.S. is advising the Zelensky government to change the age of military service from 25 to 18. So, just get rid of more innocent, young men that don't need to go through this. And so, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I'm just giving you that little update on that. And it just continues. Nobody paid attention to Putin using that very fast missile weapon. I can't remember what it's called. It's, a Russian name, but Oshlesk or something like that. So to top that off, we see that things are heating up again in Syria and Aleppo area. I want to let you know that one of our patriarchs, Patriarch John, his place where his residence is in Damascus, Syria, okay? And his brother, who was another bishop, when back in, I think, 2015, when the terrible things were happening with ISIS, his brother Paul, Bishop Paul, was kidnapped along with a Syriac bishop. And they were killed. I mean, it took a long time. Nobody knew where they were for a year or so, but yes, they were killed by the ISIS terrorists, okay? In the meantime, they couldn't break Syria, the Syrian army, the Syrian people, because Christians there, Orthodox Christians and other Christians and the Muslims there have a brotherhood and sisterhood that people can't understand. I mean, I need to explain this to some people, including my mother, that each region is different. They're not all terrorists. They're not all the same. The Syrians are different than the Turks. The Iranians are different than the Syrians. The Iranians are different than Saudi Arabians. The Lebanese are different than Turks or whatever. And people need to know that. Because they share religion, if you're talking Muslim, either Shia or Shia, doesn't mean that they don't have their own type of cultures and customs that they have. Okay, so all of this is personal to me because all the places that seem to be getting attacked and bombed and by the West and by NATO, and and then with us backing these terrorists like ISIS and Al Qaeda and all these, is detrimental to my brothers and Orthodox brothers and sisters in these countries, whether it's Ukraine, Russia, Syria. All of my churches are in those areas that have been affected. And this is why this is so, it is very important to me. So I'm going to read what Scott says about what's going on in Aleppo. The offensive against Aleppo, initiated by Turkish allied Islamists from Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, a rebranded Al-Qaeda that has made common cause with ISIS and the U.S. allied Syrian National Army, is the consequence of a strategic plan between the Israelis and Turks. Remember that. Israelis and Turks, backed by the U.S., to cut off the supply route from Iran to Lebanon for Hezbollah and threatened to destabilize, topple the Assad government, forcing Russia to divert resources from Ukraine to salvage their position in Syria. If you don't know the history of the Orthodox Church and the Byzantine Church, for the Greek Byzantine Church during the early years and into the 1400s and all that, all the way through the history of the Byzantine Empire that fell to the Turks, okay, the Ottomans. 400 years we were in oppressive, under the yoke of the Ottomans, okay? So this is why these certain things are important to my mother. She's Greek descent, so a lot of this she feels strongly about, okay? So, let's see. Ukraine has provided advisors to the anti-Assad militants on drone warfare. Israel has apparently extended its explosive pager/radio scheme into Syria as well. This is terrorism. People thought that was great in Lebanon. No. And again, I have a Lebanese Orthodox in Lebanon as well. Friends from my church that are very upset over what's going on there, okay? So this is why it's more personal for me. Let's see. Disrupting Syrian tactical command and control at a critical moment in the fighting. Syria had largely demobilized and Hezbollah had mostly returned to Lebanon. Iranian-backed Iraqi militias are ill-prepared to contain this assault. It is highly likely Aleppo will fall to the pro-Turkish Islamist forces. There will most likely be a concerted effort led by Russia and Iran to salvage the situation in Syria. This will take time. The offensive may threaten the ceasefire in Lebanon. The biggest loser in all of this is Turkey and its president, Recep Erdogan. This offensive could not have been carried out without close cooperation and coordination with Israel and the U.S. Erdogan's critical words against Israel have been exposed as empty rhetoric. It's very important. Erdogan has once again betrayed Russia. I'll get into the prophecy after this because that is not going to be good during World War III in the heat of it, okay? And his support for Palestine has been exposed as fraudulent in every way, although none of us should be surprised. Russia and Iran will stabilize Syria. So all of my hopes and prayers are in Russia and Iran to stabilize Syria, not the American forces. They don't care. They don't care about Christ's church in these regions. Look what happened in Iraq. We had our churches and people there. They all had to flee. U.S. is not supporting Christ's body. Okay. All those in the West that are for this and supplying ISIS and supplying these terrorists because we want somebody else in. Let me explain to you that Assad protected and protects minorities in Syria, which are my Orthodox Christian brethren. He's visited convents, or as they call them, women's monasteries. They're ancient there. He has a British wife, but they're okay over there. They're not. They've helped other minorities in Syria. And what people don't understand is that if you live in the Middle East, in these countries, they always have strong leaders that seem more dictatorial. Yeah, because if they don't have these people in, you see what happens. Then the terrorists take over, the real extremists. So, let me go on. Russia and Iran will stabilize Syria. This will take months, he says. Syria and its allies will destroy the Islamist stronghold in Idlib. This will take years, he says. The Iran-Hezbollah supply line will be restored / maintained. Israel will be defeated, and the U.S. will withdraw from Syria probably in mid-2025. And Turkey will continue to betray everyone it does business with because Erdogan stands only for Turkey. Let me explain to you. All of this is from my point of view. All of this is from my belief system and from, obviously through an Orthodox Christian lens, okay? The evil one is trying to destroy Christ's church, which would be, in my view, the Orthodox Church and all believers that believe as such in Christ. And people in the West need to realize that these first Christians, it's like in the Holy Land. I mean, my chanter that died several years, about a year ago, I think, he had a cancer, and his family is tied to Tabitha from the Bible. And that's his ancestor, okay? So these Palestinians were there. Their ancestors were walking with Christ. You need to remember that. Our church is handed down from the apostles. So it's important. And we need to support these ancient churches, such as mine. I really ask you to do that. Think about that. As we remember, the bishop I told you about in Cyprus that had said it goes from this war goes from Syria to Ukraine, and then it comes back into the Middle East, and then it goes to Turkey. And I never understood exactly what it meant when the Russian forces go down into Turkey, which used to be Byzantium, and all of the fighting happens in that region, where hundreds of millions of people are lost in 3 days. Where Turkey, it will not be Turkey after this, okay? And I didn't understand why, because I always thought Erdogan was friends, so quote unquote, friends with Putin. So Russia and Turkey seem to be okay But as you see, I'm seeing this post that he is not someone that can be trusted. Erdogan is out for himself. I agree. And he doesn't speak the truth. He obviously is, a typical politician. Well, I'm going to go where it's best for me. I'm going to do this because I want this or that. Now, Turkey and Syria have never gotten along. So this is not a surprise, but this is just another sign, another showing of the direction we're going. That's all I wanted to say on that. Hope you understand that's my point of view. I'm sure you'll probably disagree on certain things, but this is how I see what's going on. If you like my content, please follow my channel. And if you like my videos, please like them. And I hope you have a wonderful evening and a blessed evening and night. And until next time, take care.